Dr. Simbi Animashaun met with Beyond Stillness 7 times to articulate and publicly share this story of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. This interview was recorded during the final meeting together. To learn more about our programs, services, or to sponsor a guest on their story crafting journey, please visit www.beyondstillness.org. Today, we welcome guest Dr. Simbi Animashaun, who shares her story that begins with a pounding headache during a night class at grad school and unfolds through the heartbreak of a miscarriage and the isolation of stroke recovery. Dr. Simbi takes us through the darkness she faced and the moment she chose life. Join us as she reflects on rediscovering her strength, reclaiming her purpose, and embracing her second chance with clarity and conviction. Thank you for joining us for part 2, Dr. Simbi's interview.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Beyond Stillness offers a moment of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, we cultivate a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. As we begin today, we take a moment of pause to honor the way that wisdom has emerged through recovery. And we give thanks. Dr. Simbi, thank you for sharing your story.
You're so welcome. First of all, before we even get started, Molly, thank you so much for this opportunity to even share my story. This is my second time in life even sharing my story. You have made me feel so comfortable sharing my story and just allow me to process what I actually experienced. So again, thank you for this opportunity. This has been a transformative experience for me, and happy to be in this place in life and just learn as much as I can and help others in the process.
That's clear by your story. Dr. Simbi, thank you for trusting me on this journey. We've had a lot of really powerful conversations. You've been through a lot, and you are very articulate about ways that it has built you up as an individual. And that's a beautiful thing to share with other people. I'm so glad to dive into this. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
You mentioned a lot of different stroke symptoms. What did you know about stroke before the night yours occurred at Cleveland State?
To be honest, I knew nothing, Molly. I only knew the word and what it meant. However, symptoms, I knew nothing of. I knew nothing about it. So it was definitely heavy news because at the same time I experienced 2 miscarriages. So it was really a lot for me to process. I do vividly remember being at the hospital that night and receiving my diagnosis of the AVM. The doctor who performed the MRI and helped me through the process was very, very comforting. He was very clear. He was very direct. He was very reassuring that you are going to get through this. So receiving the AVM diagnosis, it was a reassurance that although I had experienced this stroke and it was caused by this AVM, that I was going to get through this. Having a great doctor is primary. is primary.
And not everyone has that experience. And what a gift to be with someone in a room when you receive the information and have that information delivered to you so gracefully and confidently and direct. You said direct. Sometimes when people beat around the bush, it's really hard for us to understand the situation.
Just want to add one more thing is that the doctor also informed me that I had experienced a previous AVM rupture the year before. So delivering that news, although it was heavy, he knew that it was something that needed to be said. Definitely the directness and him being comforting. And he also sent a therapist to my room that night just to reassure that I was mentally okay.
Yeah.
So as I sit here now and I share that with you, and you helping me create my story, but just knowing that he provided that for me, that was very important. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, and you provide that type of space for others now, and we'll talk more about that later in this interview. But how did you process when you heard, one, that you were pregnant, and two, that you had experienced a stroke?
Yeah, those are two separate situations. So when I had my stroke,
Yeah.
I was told that I was only pregnant and I was discharged from the hospital. I did not find out I had my stroke until a weeks of sitting home in the bed and lying down and not being able to do anything physically. That's when I found out that I had a stroke. Those were two separate incidents. I'm thankful that I was able to process at separate times, but when it all came together, it was definitely heavy. It took me maybe a year or so to even process that. Oh my God, I just experienced my second miscarriage and I had a stroke.
Yeah. How did you process that? Because they're so layered.
It took a while. It took a while. I had to dissect, and it took my support system to even get me through dissecting what I had experienced. So my team of doctors, the nurses, therapists, my family, my boyfriend at the time, everyone collectively helped me process what I had been through. So it wasn't just me. And I would have to say overall was my faith. I cannot forget about that. It was my faith that actually got me through this entire ordeal.
Huh. Tell me more about that.
Life before my stroke was normal. I was a teacher, I was dating, I was out and about, just enjoying life. When I experienced the stroke, it changed a lot of dynamics of my life. Physically, I was not able to walk. I was not able to communicate as I had done previously. My whole normal life changed. It caused me to become this depressive person. And I didn't know what depression was either. So seeing myself in the mirror, seeing a person whose hair is not done, no makeup, I'm just walking around in these baggy clothes, I became depressed. But then one day while sitting in my bed, I just, I don't know, I just had this aha moment. Like, Simbi, you have this second chance at life. And it was like I said, it was an aha moment, but it was a light that flickered in my room. And not that I was totally against God or totally questioning God, but I've always had a relationship with God. But at that moment, you fall into depression and you forget your family, your friends, you forget your relationships with God or whoever your important relationships are. So at that moment, sitting in the bed, light flickering, I just had this moment of clarity, like this is your second chance at life.
Wow. Isn't it interesting that sometimes we have to hit rock bottom until another window opens and we're like, oh, there's
Yes.
something else. There's something
Yes.
else.
Yes. In this interview, I have to shout out Greg. Greg does this entire series where he focuses on death taught me how to live.
Yeah.
And that's so true because my near death experience did teach me how to live, and it shaped me into the woman that I am today. So that segment, that series, Greg, shout out to you. very powerful and very needed in our community.
Absolutely. Actually, Greg is the one that nominated you, Dr. Simbi, and he is a man that holds space for so many people to reflect on their near-death experiences and offer what that is, because some of us see it as a gift, an aha and a transition, a moment that allows us to blossom. And I love hearing how it works through other people. Yeah. Yeah. At one point in your story, you mentioned a sense of drowning almost right before that aha moment. What got you through those moments before that spark that you felt? What got you through those moments at home without makeup, not recognizing yourself?
Honestly, it was God who got me through these days, because in this realm, in this world, I wanted to give up. I was depressed and I was ready to end it all. Okay. So it was really nothing that no one could tell me or no one could come comfort me. It was nothing that they could do. So really it was God who kept me here and who saw the bigger picture before my whole, entire aha moment. So thank God.
Yeah,
Thank
for
God.
sure. And in those moments, it's interesting. Before, I liked your wording before, we can't see all of those connections. We can't see the people that love us. We can't see who we really are inside. We're cut off. That's what depression does. It's
Yes,
so
yes.
isolating,
In darkness, yes.
so much darkness. And then when that moment hits and we start to see in a different light, it's so empowering. And you explain this in your story, that moment that you took the car keys and you felt them in your hand, and it reminded you of someone who you were before, what was familiar, but not quite there.
Yes.
And then you went forward. You just took step by step. You got up, you got ready, and you use this word, you use choice. I chose my clothes that day.
I did.
It's a sense of empowerment. You're choosing even your clothes. And then
Yes.
later you end up choosing who you are, who you've become.
It was that moment that I got dressed and I felt like myself again. I felt beautiful. And even though physically I was still, I don't want to use the word crippled, but I couldn't walk as I had done before. So I wasn't 100% Simbi, but looking at myself in the mirror, I had found me a cute outfit to put on. I did my hair, put it up in a bun, and I felt cute. So that spark helped me transition into this whole new phase of life, grabbing my car keys and saying, you know what? I'm not waiting on anyone to take me to therapy today. I I feel great. And that day I felt so amazing that I drove myself to therapy.
That was the first time you drove.
First time I drove myself to therapy.
Ah.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's interesting. There's a little bit of fake it till you make it in there, because your wording in there was, well, I wasn't fully myself, but I chose to do this. I chose to do that. There's a gal who shared her story here, Sue Phipps, who credited her friend for calling her and saying, get out of bed and shower.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything else today. Just get out of bed and shower. And sometimes just pushing ourselves in that first moment. And it sounds like you did that day. You thought, okay, I'm getting up. And that was the beginning.
That was the beginning of Dr. Simbi.
Of Dr. Simbi. That's right. What does life purpose mean to you now? Because you're clearly a driven person towards meaning.
Life purpose is to be who you are, to be your authentic self, to live your journey or to carry out your journey, not worry about what others are thinking and who's judging you. Even if you fail, it's okay. It's a part of the journey. So living life freely. I love that word. Living life freely. Whether you make mistakes, whether you have accomplishments, just being free. Free to be you.
Yeah. There's so much power and light once we realize that we are free to be ourselves.
Free to be
Whether
ourselves.
we realize that we went down a road that isn't quite true to who we are, there's
Yes,
freedom in saying, messed up, but I'm going this way now.
exactly. Every day is a new day.
Mm.
Every day there is a new day to be great.
Tell me more about that.
So if I make a mistake today, it's okay. I pray on it and I ask God to guide me, to give me the strength, to give me the courage, and I try again tomorrow. And if it don't work tomorrow, guess what? I try again. And I keep trying until I succeed. So I'm the person that, oh, I'm okay with failing because I know that my purpose is greater and I know that God is going to make a way for me always. And He has.
Yeah.
So at 41 years old, God has made a way for me through these decades. But I can say this with confidence that you have every day to make a difference and to be great.
I was wondering how you got from getting yourself up and to the therapy center, just trying to force it, to this light and exciting and motivated Dr. Simbi. Like, what's the in between phase there?
The in between phase is I was this courageous person before my stroke. I probably just had a little bit more energy than I have now, times 10. But I had to remember who I was before my stroke, that I was this courageous, outgoing, smart, beautiful person. In between, I forgot that. So once I knew that I could be this greater person than I was before, that really got me through my stroke recovery, was remembering who I was, the greatness that God blessed me with, and just moving on and saying that, okay, well, you're not this person anymore, but guess what? You have room to be an even greater Simbi.
That's a beautiful way to approach the comparison. A lot of stroke survivors compare themselves to who they were before the stroke versus who they are after the stroke. And what I hear you saying is you are who you are before the stroke deep down and have an opportunity to, in a bigger, different way, be your better self.
Better version of myself, because now I have a whole new perspective on life than I had before. So before I was just living day to day, but now I'm living carefully. So I try to watch my energy. I try to watch what I say. I try to watch who I allow in my space, the places that I go, because all of those things matter and it can impact who I am today. And now that I'm a mom of 4, it also impacts them. I'm very particular about who I allow in my space. So, like I mentioned before, I was very outgoing, but I carried this energy on my shoulder because of what I had been through as a child. People would say that I'm stuck up or I'm conceited. And it wasn't that. It was just that I was carrying this pain, this childhood trauma, this pain from being a child who was abused and who was neglected. But I was still outgoing out and I wanted friends. I wanted friends so desperately that sometimes I was a pushover.
Yeah.
However, now I'm very protective. I'm very protective of me. I'm very careful about who I allow in my space just because I have small kids, 7, 5, 4, and 1. And I had to be very protective over their mental health and their space as well.
Right. It's
Always
interesting. Yeah. It's interesting that in order to be free and alive and the person who you want to be, sometimes we have to create boundaries. We need to guard our time. We don't have enough energy for everything. We need to guard our space because sometimes people or an environment brings this energy that will impact our own light. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you have figured out what you need in order to shine.
You
And
know
you're
what?
giving
That's
that to your kids.
yes. Look. I'd be sorry to interrupt you, but my thoughts be
Yeah, go for it.
running. So if I listen to every friend, every coworker, every family member who has an opinion about what I should do with my life, how is that living when you care and you have to listen to everyone's opinion? So I give people space to voice their opinions, but at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for myself and what's best for my family. I don't totally shut people out when they want to voice their opinions because we all need a space to speak and to voice our opinions. So I allow that space. However, at the end of the day, I'm very opinionated too. So I am going to share my opinions as well. And we just have to collectively agree to disagree and move on. And the conclusion is that you have to do what's best for you.
Mm. For someone listening who might be confused about what their inner voice is saying versus the voices of people around them, how would you suggest someone amplify their inner voice?
So, what I started doing is taking time to meditate alone in silence and start to listen to yourself, listen to your desires and your needs. That's one way to amplify your voice is meditation. And meditation is just being free to have any types of thoughts that you want. So, that comes to the next phase here is once you have meditated and you have, given yourself the opportunity to get all these thoughts out. Second is journaling. Journaling, what is the most important thing that is on your mind and your heart? Start journaling. I just say that I am going to designate this time of the day. So I may give myself afternoon from 12 to 2. Between 12 to 2, I need to journal. And that's what I do. I journal and I write down the most important thoughts that I have at that time.
Again, you're setting boundaries for yourself in order to hear your inner voice, to let yourself shine.
And you know what? That's what I said. That has helped me amplify my voice is that when I go back into my journals, because we don't just write just to write. You have to actually go back and process what you have written. So I know you asked me earlier, well, did you go back and listen to your recording? I haven't, but guess what? I will, because that helps me process my story, because I'm sure at some point I have other interviews, I have other platforms to share my story, and this is a great way for me to just process what I've been through and to amplify my voice, like you said.
Yeah. Amplify your inner voice.
Yes, inner voice.
And now you work with people who are processing their grief. You founded a nonprofit called United by Loss. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so United by Loss was founded in 2022, and that came during the pandemic. I had just had my third baby. I was forced to resign because I refused to transition back to the traditional setting. That was another loss for me because I didn't have a job, just strengthening my faith and just being patient and leaning on God to make a way for me. And He did. I ended up writing my first book, The Power of Healing. From there, I was able to create United by Loss Foundation to physically provide space for women that had experienced the same losses I have. Our mission is to provide resources and community for mothers and families who have experienced pregnancy and infant loss.
You told me at one point that after you published the book, you heard from so many people online, women that you did not know, and reached out to you after you shared about this experience. A lot of people hold tightly without sharing, and that tightness sticks with us in our own bodies, in our own minds, in our own hearts. And you're offering people an opportunity to, is it release? Not release, no, to voice that in order to connect with other people. And in that way, Dr. Simbi, in that way, you are giving them an opportunity to shine their light.
Mm-hmm.
But before we can do that, we need to look deeply within to what is holding us down. Can you talk to that?
On the stroke journey, you just have to put aside your ill feelings about yourself, about who you were before your stroke, and you just have to be thankful that you're even here. So everyone's journey is different, and we just have to be the light that God wants us to be for ourselves and for others who may be watching. So you may have experienced a stroke yesterday or 10 years ago. We all have a story to tell. And whether you decide to tell your story publicly or you may write it in the journal is your decision. But guess what? You're here to tell your story. That's what matters. That's the powerful thing is you're here to tell your story, whether it's on paper or whether it's in an interview.
Yeah. Tell me about how that works within United by Loss.
We provide space for mothers to share their stories. Since we were created, we have a balloon release in October, which is National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. At that balloon release, I provide space for mothers to share their story. Now, I don't force anyone, but I provide that space. I know I had one mother who I asked in 2023 and she said no. But this year, she has agreed to speak. Okay. The second way is this past May 17th, I held my first brunch for mothers who have experienced loss of a child. So gun violence, suicide, pregnancy and infant loss. And my keynote speaker, again, I asked her a while back if she would speak at one of my previous events, and she said no. But she was moved and she was compelled to speak at the brunch. And when I say her presentation was so amazing, it touched everyone that was there at the brunch.
Wow.
So just providing this space, like you, Molly, you're providing the space for stroke survivors. That's what we all have in common is that we're providing a space for our fellow stroke survivors or pregnancy and loss survivors to share their story and to be free like we are. We're free. Yes, we're free.
And I think there's something really powerful about what you said in that you asked someone to share and they said no. Because our time will come when it's supposed to come.
Exactly.
And sometimes sitting in a space with other people, whether it be virtual or in person, listening to somebody else speak from the heart offers us an opportunity because we connect on a human level when we share stories.
And that's the purpose of these spaces, right?
Totally.
That's the purpose of these spaces. And we see a lot of people who did not have those spaces, who have either committed suicide. And I've seen kids, teenagers committing suicide. And I think that's the importance of this space here, whether it's for mental health, whether it's for pregnancy and infant loss, whether it's for stroke. We all need a space to be vulnerable, a space to be free, a space to be ourselves so that we can live life purposefully.
So that we can be seen and heard
and loved.
And loved for who we are.
Yes.
Well, I love you, Dr. Simbi.
Aww.
I do. I do. I've loved our time together. And I so admire your drive toward purpose. You connect with your students. You connect with your children. You create space for women. You create space for families. You are doing so much. You need like 8 Dr. Simbis to live the life that you're living. You're clearly
Molly, I need a vacation.
Yeah. You're clearly taking advantage of the second opportunity at life. And thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for sharing with our stroke community. Thank you for sharing with your United by Loss community. And there's another community. And well, okay, tell me, can you give us a little short
Yes.
overview of
Yes,
Horizon
I know.
over the
I know
spectrum?
our time is coming to an end. So yes. So friends, I have founded a new nonprofit organization, which is called Horizon Over the Spectrum. We provide support and resources to families who have received new autism diagnosis. Our mission, we're providing all these resources. So I have written my second and published my second book, which is a parent guidebook. It's called The Spectrum of Love, My Journey Through Autism, as well as a coloring book for kids ages 2 to 7, which teaches them about autism. So at this next phase of life, I am tuning in to my own family because I have 2 kids that are on the spectrum. And I'm providing another space for families to thrive and not just survive.
Ever evolving Dr. Simbi, letting her light shine in all corners of her life. You see a need and you step up. And you see a need and you see people. You have seen me through this experience. Thank you for honoring me in that way. And I have been blessed to see you and your light. And thanks for shining.
Thank you. Thank you, Molly. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you, Greg, for nominating me. I'm very grateful, very humble for all these opportunities.
Storytelling empowers us to share our experiences in a way that invites others to reflect on their own. In closing, we offer a reflection question, an opportunity to spark dialogue with yourself, friends, family, or fellow stroke survivors. In a moment, I'll read our community conversation prompt. You can also find it written in the episode description. What moment in recovery reminded you that you are strong? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Join the conversation on Instagram or Facebook at Stories After Stroke.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show.
Thank you for listening to Part 2, Dr. Simbi's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, Dr. Simbi's story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Dr. Simbi reminds us that even in our darkest moments, we can find strength to begin again, and that reclaiming purpose often starts with a single brave choice. Remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. If this episode resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review to help others find these powerful stories too. To support more stroke survivors in articulating and sharing their journeys, please consider donating to Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke. Together, we amplify diverse stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope.